And we are live. We're live today with my dear friend, Dr. Stephanie. I was going to say Stacy. I'm like, goodness, I have a Stacy Moore inside of my inner circle, so I apologize for that. And it just, but Dr. Stephanie is somebody that I met in the Edge Mastermind. Now, you guys have all heard me talking about being part of Dean Graziosi's and Tony Robbins' world. With Mastermind for as long as they've been Mastermind, and then been with the Edge almost from the very beginning. Dr. Stephanie, when I met you, not only do you glow, you're so passionate about what you speak about. And I'm here to kind of pull that story out of you about why you're so passionate about this. But first, let's talk about you as a woman, as a wife, as a friend. Who were you before you were the doctor?
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here, Debbie. You know I love you. And who I was before all of this. Oh my gosh. I was sick. I was struggling. My priorities were completely shifted. I'm going back to about 15 years ago or so, in college, doing pre-med, trying to get into medical school, and just completely ignoring my body, just completely ignoring the signs, the symptoms, the whispering that your body gives you, and just not listening and just focusing on just one thing, which was, career, work. And I'm sure you can relate, in our lives, there are phases where we go into and we have just one focus and everything else just sort of dims in the background. And so I was really stressed out. I was symptomatic, and I was sick, and it didn't really matter, because I had one focus, one priority. And if I didn't hit that priority, then I wasn't good enough.
Wow. Did you unpack a lot in a short? We're going to go back to some of those things. But what I want to say or ask you is, what happens now? What's a day in your life look like now? Because you do have children, you do have a career, you are speaking on stages. What does a life look like today that is completely opposite? Like, you blew me away when you said that.
Yes, my life now is, although very busy, and priorities are still being stacked up, by 1, 2, 3, 4. I never forget my purpose. Why am I really here? Why did God put me on this planet? What is the universe calling me to do? And I usually wear a bracelet that says love on it, because that's what really anchors me back to my purpose every day, and what is the reason for doing everything I do. And that's love. It's love of my family, love of God and why he put me here, love for my patients, love for my patients' future, right? A lot of times we forget about our future health, right? Our future story. And I'm in love with that version of me, of my family, of my patients. And so love really anchors me back to the reason why I'm doing everything I'm doing now. And although the list is very long, I'm sure all of you can relate to your endless list of things you need to do. But there's always a reason. And as long as you anchor back to that love and passion of why you're doing what you're doing, that's what's really going to move you forward.
Yeah. Now, that sounds easy for us that have figured that out. But there's a shift in there somewhere. I want to hear that story when you understood the difference between pushing through from an empty cup to really energizing yourself with love, with allowing that energy in you so that you could ripple it out. I don't know if those are the words you'd use, but I see it in you very easily. So when did that shift so that you knew that you had to fill your cup up first?
Oh my goodness. I don't think that there was an exact moment in time where I can recall exactly what the shift was, but I know it was a phase in my life. And it started in medical school, um, where I had hints of what it felt like to have that energy, to have that filled cup that then I can pour out. But then it goes away and you kind of like drift back into who you were before because it's so habitual, right? It's so, you've been doing it for so many years. And so you kind of drift back. And then there's that spark again where you're like, oh my gosh, I feel great right now. I'm eating so good. My food is giving me energy. I'm going outside, the light, nature, God, this I call myself solar powered because when I get like this burst of sun in my face, like my body just whoop, like I transform into energy. And so like, then you see that glimpse again and you're like, no, I can do this. Like this, I feel great. I'm awesome. And then you go back. And so there was like this shift for me for many years. Can I be frank with you? Many years. And it's a trial and error, and I don't want you to think like if you're ever in this phase where you're kind of going back to your old habits, like don't blame yourself,
Mm.
feel, like you're just this bad person, like, oh my gosh. And no, you have to be so forgiving and give yourself so much grace for moving forward and being at least able to be aware that you're in that phase. Because sometimes we're in it and we're like, we have no idea. We're just living there. We're setting out this like bad energy to our family, to our hubbies, to our partners, and we don't even know. So if you know you're in that phase, hey, hello, give yourself a huge pat on the back because at least you're aware, right? And so I just feel like a lot of times I would feel so much guilt and put so much extra stress on myself that I didn't need to put because there's enough stress around me. The world gives us enough stress. You know that, Debbie, right? And so putting that extra stress on you for what? And I would do it all the time. And so I think when I finally realized what I was doing and I kind of like pinpointed it was probably at the end of residency, like right before I became like officially like an attending, like, oh my God, that I realized like, what am I doing preaching and teaching something to my patient that I'm not doing? And that was a huge eye opener for me. I was like, I'm not going to be that hypocrite. Like, there is no way that I'm sitting there and going room by room, patient to patient, family member to family member, right? Because I'm preaching to everybody. It's the patient, it's the family members, it's everybody, right? My colleagues. And then I go home and do something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that's the shift where I started to realize, oh my gosh, look, my cup was full during this event. My cup was full here. And I just started finding everything and then just kind of everything kind of came together. So that was about what, like um 11 years ago, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I love it. I love that you talked about that habits and patterns, and we can really become unaware. We're really just going through the motions. And I've always said that awareness is the first step in anything. And us as coaches and mentors, we need our people to be aware that they actually have a struggle or aren't as fulfilled or aren't as healthy as they maybe are trying to appear. I've done it, you've done it. We live this life as if things are great, but we have to be radically honest with ourselves. Now, Dr. Stephanie, you are refreshing as a doctor. Like when you talked about that shame or blame, I thought, oh my goodness, how many times have I, and I'm a retired nurse, but how many times did I go into the doctor's office with a problem that I knew was self-inflicted or I'd waited too long to go in? And then I felt embarrassed that I wasn't taking care of myself. So help us understand how you became so compassionate and so forgiving, both to yourself and to your patients.
I think it starts with me.
Yeah.
I think it starts with me and seeing myself in them. There's always a little part of them that you can see yourself in. Like, okay, fine, you may not have the diagnosis, you may not feel as sick as they do, but there's always something that they say, something that they feel, something in their history, something in their family dynamic. Like, just there's always something you can connect to. And as long as you find that connection and you stay grounded, right? A lot of times, I've been around so many different physicians, so many different types of physicians, and healthcare providers and nursing staff. I mean, everybody in the medical field. And I feel like a lot of times we put ourselves here, but we're here. We're the same. God made us equal. We're all the same. And so as long as you stay grounded and you find that connection, and can I tell you, it helps so much more for the patient to connect with you when you connect with them first. Yeah. You find that rapport so much faster. They like you without knowing why they like you. Right? They connect with you. They find this energy with you, and they can't even put their finger on it, right? They don't know why. And it's because you have connected to them in a humane level, in a level where, you can actually get more out of them. You can get the truth, and that trust, that connection is going to actually lead you to treat them better, medically. I mean, to like find the diagnosis faster, find a management plan faster, treat them better. So I think that's what it starts with. It starts with that connection, like finding where you connect, because you're going to connect with everybody.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. One of my biggest sayings is we're here to reconnect to ourselves, to each other, and to our missions. And when we do that, I mean, the thing that you spoke about, that is all comes down to love. It is that self-love, that self-discovery. I love that you said this connection to your clients, your patients, because there has to be I see you, I hear you, I get it. Whether you've physically gone through what they're going through, or whether you've just understand it at a deep level of compassion, for them to have that trust in your plan and trust that you care as much as they want to care. But they have to believe it's possible. And in today's world, where we have a lot of times it's a pill or a process or a procedure, fix it, versus let's come up with a health plan. They need to literally follow you in order to stay, and habits can be hard to kick. So let's talk about maybe a time when you felt like you really needed to build that rapport with a patient in order to get them to believe that a shift in their health was possible.
Oh my goodness. Sometimes it's easy in the way where is it an eye-opening event that happened? Remember, I'm in the hospital, right? So I'm in that sort of life or death situation, right? So typically, I would say for the most part, it's a little easier for me to get in there emotionally because they're already so vulnerable. They feel so helpless. They feel like they don't know what's going to happen next. They don't know how long they're going to live. They have a whole entire family that is depending on them. And so I'm in there at this state that is just so eye-opening for them, right? It's such a transitional state for them. And so I do got to say, it's a little bit easier sometimes for me. Because I'm already a step ahead, right? I don't have to show them the eye-opening event, right? There are some cases where they're younger, it's a younger population, 20s and 30s. And there I do need to, they still think they're invincible, right? They may have come in with a very life-threatening illness like an acidosis from, uncontrolled diabetes or something. And, they've had this before, they've been through it. And so they kind of still feel invincible. So in those cases, I do have to be a little more eye-opening, like what can truly happen? Like these are the complications that can truly happen to you. And you got to try a little harder. But for most cases, I think I'm in a unique sort of situation where, if you are in that sort of vulnerable state, it's a little easier, especially if you just show a little bit of love, a little bit of compassion. You don't need much to kind of steer them in the right direction. Now, the tough part is after they leave the hospital.
Yeah.
Right? When they're
Habit.
going back to the environment that caused them to come to the hospital in the beginning. Right? And so that's where it becomes tough, when they're around the people that they were with before, where they're around the same temptations, the habits, like that's where it becomes a little tougher.
Yeah. So the title of this talk today was Your Body Isn't Working Against You, It's Responding. Yeah. And I pulled this out of kind of some of the things that I watch you speak about. My story is very much where I was ignoring my own body till it stopped tapping me on the shoulder and just slammed me up and everything failed. This isn't about me. I know you've witnessed that in your clients, your patients multiple times. What would you say to people that are trying to mask a sign or a symptom versus listening to their body?
Yeah. Your body is always whispering to you constantly. Sometimes it's whispering. Sometimes it's screaming, right? We, as women especially, we are good at ignoring this stuff. Why? Because there's things to do. And no one else is going to do it for us, right? I know you hear me. That's why you're laughing. And I'm sure you're laughing out there. Who's there with me? Who's there with me? Right?
Oh, yeah.
No one can do it better than us. No one understands, the severity or the importance of what we're doing, right? And so we are so good at ignoring ourselves. So good at it. So good. And I know because I'm there. And I still do this to this day, you guys. This is not like a perfect thing. You're never going to be perfect. Perfect is like the enemy. Don't even think about that word, okay? It's still going to happen every single day sometimes. I have to come back to me. Like, what am I feeling right now? Especially, by the way, I'm 9 months pregnant. Big old belly. My big old belly. I'm 9 months pregnant. So, I have to snap back into it and be like, hey, what am I feeling right now? What is my body trying to tell me? Mm-hmm. And listen, I mean, you can go years, and your body has been screaming at you for years. You may not be diagnosed with anything yet. And I say yet for real, because eventually you will. And I'm huge right now, focusing on metabolic dysfunction because it's really just becoming like a worldwide pandemic. I hate to say that word again, but 1 in 3 people have a metabolic dysfunction, from prediabetes or diabetes or just insulin resistance. And it's just becoming so common and so insanely crazy because why? Your body has been whispering, talking, yelling, screaming to you for years, right? It's just this progression. And so if we don't take a moment, and I'm talking about a daily moment, at least, not just weekly, not just monthly, not just like, I'm going to go do my yoga class once a week. No, we're talking about a daily moment of pause. It could be when you pray in the morning. It could be when you pray at night. It could be just at night when you're just laying there thinking, right? At any point during your day, you need to take a pause and ask yourself, how do I truly feel? This fatigue that you have may not be just because you slept bad last night. May not be because you're stressed about a project that you're doing at work, right? It may be a sign of something. You need to listen to it, right? Does this fatigue happen all the time? Is it every day? Is it all day? Or is it just at certain times a day? Is there a pattern? Right? And these are the questions that obviously I'm here for, to figure out why it's happening. But all you need to do is realize, is there something wrong, or is this okay? And can I tell you something?
Yeah.
You're going to know the answer right away.
Yep.
Trust yourself. You're a woman, you're smart. You are going to know the answer right away and go with your gut.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't believe that. Like sometimes we sell ourselves short, but we have the answers within us. You don't need a doctor to tell you there's something wrong. You know if there's something wrong or right. You might need someone to guide you, through the process of why and what it is. And that's okay. But you have the answer inside of you. And so you truly have to take a daily pause as to what symptoms, what signs, what is my body screaming at me about? Is it fatigue? Is it stress? Is it headaches? Is it diarrhea? Ooh, I know. Like, what is it? Is it nausea? Is it overeating? Is it cravings? Like, what is it? There's always something. There's always something. And if you don't take the pause every day, eventually you're going to end up with a sickness. And then you're going to have that eye-opening event. You're going to meet me in the hospital. It's going to be life or death and la, la, la. Like, you don't want to wait for that. And it's the reason why I'm doing all of this. Because that's what I was seeing in the hospital. And I was like, what am I actually doing with these patients? If I'm not helping them when they leave the hospital, then what's the point of giving them a second chance at life if they're just going to come right back with the same thing? Because that's what I was seeing every day.
Yeah.
And so, we need to have some responsibility of our own bodies, because you know your body the best. You know it better than me. I don't care what doctor's in front of you. You know your body better than the doctor does. You live in it.
Yes. Yes.
And so
100%.
exactly.
And they have to find the right doctor. So this is the gap that you are filling for me, is that patient that goes in and says, here's the things that I feel like are off. I'm just feeling like there's something wrong. And they say, oh, I'll run these 2 tests. Nope, you're good. Go home. So the gap that you're feeling with your compassion, with your care, with those questions that you asked that are deeply investigative, but not blaming or shaming, those are important questions. And I would challenge people that don't just pause, but ask the right question to your body so that it can answer you. And then you can take it to somebody like Dr. Stephanie. So how can people work with you? What is the thing that you love to do and that you're so passionate about that we're in the edge together?
Yeah. So just a tiny backstory. My dad almost died in the hospital from a huge diabetic complication. He was ignoring his whispers and yelling and screaming for years and years, and his diabetes went completely out of control. And so seeing my dad in the hospital, in the ICU, like in septic shock, from an infection in his toe that he didn't even realize he had, because he had such bad neuropathy that he didn't notice he had a big old ulcer under his pinky. And so, being in that situation and having him come out of it and just realizing, wow, this is my next step. Like, this is my calling. Like, this is why God made me a doctor. Like, this is why God put me here. Like, it's not enough to be in the hospital. And it's like, if God just told me, like, Stephanie, this is not enough. It's not enough to just like save someone's life acutely, right? From like, 1 foot in the grave, one foot outside the grave. Like, that's not enough. And for a while it was rewarding, but then it got to the point, like I told you, it was just so repetitive. People just kept coming back and it was the same thing. And I was like, there's something missing. And so after that happened with my dad, I realized I need to fully focus on metabolic dysfunction, diabetes, pre-diabetes, insulin resistance, because it's really, it's like the foundation of the cause of heart disease. And when we talk about metabolic dysfunction, it's kind of like this whole series of diagnosis or symptoms or signs. It's being overweight, it's having high cholesterol, it's having high blood pressure, it's having insulin resistance or diabetes. And it's sort of this like constellation of signs and symptoms that eventually lead you to having our cause of death, which is dying from a heart attack. That's what everyone's dying of. You can have 1,000 things in your diagnosis profile, but you're probably going to die of a heart attack. Why? Because your neighbor died of a heart attack, your dad died of a heart attack, your friend died of a heart attack. Everyone is dying of a heart attack. Every 34 seconds, someone has a heart attack. Think about that. 34 seconds. We've been talking for how long? 10 minutes? 20 people just had a heart attack in this conversation. It's insane. This is America only United States. This is not global, the statistics. So it's like, what are we doing here? If I don't focus on catching this early, or this sort of movement in like inspiring people to catch this early, we're all just gonna die early, leave our family behind, not fulfill our legacy, not fulfill the purpose that God put us here for, and it's just like, it's preventable, it's just, so that's why I'm so focused on it now, because this is something that's preventable, fixable, right? It doesn't need to happen. And so, yes, so that's what I'm focused on. And if you want to talk to me, all you got to do is send me a message. I check my messages every day. I got you.
I love that. I love your energy. I love how real you are. I love that you get it, that we can get in our own way and old habits and patterns can really sneak up and sabotage our health. And I get that you keep it so real that you pull us in and hold us and say, I've got you, and we're going to get through this together. That's really what I heard you speak about throughout this entire interview. So I have one last question for you. And that's for the woman that says, I know I need to change. I know I take way better care of everybody else but myself. What's the first thing I need to do?
Oof. Are you talking to me? You, ladies, this is a process. Yeah. You are not going to be perfect every day. Okay. Literally, Debbie just asked me this question and I felt like the patient, like, what am I going to do? And as the doctor, I feel like the patient too every day. And it's a process, and it's something that you need to work on every single day, every single moment. Okay. And honestly, I think having that support, like having that person with you, having that anchor, whether it's God or an actual physical person you could talk to. I mean, you just need to have someone, to ground you back into why you're here, why you're on this planet. And you can potentially be on this planet, for your career, to help others, to help your family, raise your kids. Like there's always a reason, there's a purpose for everyone. But if we're not listening, and if we're not grounded, and if we don't find the support in either a person, a physician, your God, that's what you need to do first, my love. And I know it's not like a practical thing. Like, I need to do a food audit in my pantry. Like, I'm going to go now to the kitchen to do a food audit. No, yes, that's part of it. You do need to write what you're eating, because what foundation is nutrition. You want to lose weight, you want to be healthier. Foundation is nutrition. You can't exercise your way out of a bad diet. You can't sleep your way out of a bad diet. You can't meditate your way out of a bad diet, right? So it's like, foundation is food. So I can give you a practical tip right now. Go to your pantry, go to your fridge, write down what you see, and X out everything that shouldn't be there, right? So you could do a food audit easily, but it's more than that. The first thing you need to do is anchor yourself. Why are you doing this? What's the point? Is it just to lose weight so you can see a better number on the scale? No, heck no. I know that's not the reason. It might be the superficial reason, right? That you tell yourself every day, oh, I gotta lose weight. Oh, I gotta lose weight. Oh, I gotta lose weight. Like, I gotta lose weight too. I'm 9 months pregnant. I'm gaining a lot of weight, But if you continue to say these things to yourself, you're not going to change that way. Like, how many times have you said that you actually changed anything you did that day? Never, right? So if you don't anchor yourself, I mean, I guess I'm going to say the word spiritually. If you don't anchor yourself spiritually inside here, inside your heart, and ask yourself that hard question, like, why am I here? Why am I supposed to be here? Why did I wake up this morning? And I know these are like easy, simple, you think they're easy, simple questions, but then when you really ask yourself, you're like, whoa, I have no idea, right? And I know, and then you realize, oh my God, this is gonna take way too much time, and I have to do this, and I have to do that, and I have to do. You gotta take the time. So what's step number one? Go inside.
Yeah.
Within. Heart. Love. That's what you need to do first.
I love it. Mic drop moment there, but I can't help it. I told you that was the last question, but I want to hear your deeper dream. That dream that if everything succeeded, your dream of helping all these people and changing how we eat and how we take care of ourselves, and everything happens, it's 10 years down the road, it's 5 years down the road, it's even 1 year down the road. Explain what happens in our world because you stood up for this cause.
The movement. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it's a movement. I think, in the last mastermind, I missed you, by the way. Evo, I think it was Evo that said something about, I am creating a movement. And that word just like hit me in my soul, in my heart. Like, is this what I'm doing? I'm creating a movement, against what traditional medicine does, right? Because this is sort of not the tradition, right? It's all about reactive medicine, and I'm not at all. I mean, I treat it. That's what I kind of do in the hospital because it's life or death situations, right? But my movement is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And so, gosh, you know what my dream would be? I think finding a piece of the world, whether it's by a mountain, by a tropical forest, or just some beautiful, scenery, tree situation, right? Just like some beauty, or by the ocean, something like that, naturey, and then building like this health resort where people at all stages, whether they're, a little bit symptomatic or whether they are extremely symptomatic, and all the doctors have said, like, threw the towel and said, there's nothing I can do. You have advanced heart disease. I can't even go in and do a cardiac cath. Like, you're done. From the simplest to the most extreme, anyone can just walk in and get the love, support, and care that they need. And not in the acute setting. Like, of course, if you are very sick, you need a hospital. No, I'm not talking about a hospital. I'm just talking about you at baseline, you living your life, and then have this just enormous resort of help from the nutritionist to the chef that's making your food, all the way to the physician that's actually, doing the deep dive. Like, just having that just across the board in this beautiful, just sort of naturesque. That's what I'm picturing. I'm just picturing like either water or a lake or just a forest, and then everything inside is just flowers and just beauty. And you walk in and you just already feel healthier by just walking in and knowing that you're going to have this just full team supporting your mission and your journey. And you're there, and you could be there for a week, or you can decide to be there for a couple months, or you can decide, hey, look, I'm going to go 3 times a year, or, just like this place where your people are at, and you just know that you're going to not only have that your peers, like people that are just like you, but you're going to have this just whole team, this force field around you that's going to kind of shuttle you forward into your new health story, the new version of you. Oh my gosh, that would just be insane. That would be insane.
And who out there watching wants that? I'm raising my hand, but I want you to put in the comments, you're claiming that. You're claiming that. I, as a woman, think when I hear your vision, I'm like, I want that for everyone. But I have to claim it for myself.
Yeah.
Because as a woman, I often want things for my kids, my grandkids, my friends, more than I want it for me. So I'm going deep with that because I felt you speak it with such conviction that I'm claiming it for myself as well. I want to come and spend time at this beautiful place that you're building.
That would be amazing. Oh my gosh. I just felt like I was walking through like the halls and like walking through. It felt like I was like drifting right now. Like as I was picturing, I was like drifting through. Oh my gosh.
Well, this has been so good. I loved it. You've kept us entertained. You've shared stories of fear and then healing and all of the things. So you've taken us through a real transformation of what's possible when we get passionate about this. And what I would say or challenge everybody to lean into is choose you, choose yourself, so that you can create a ripple just like Dr. Stephanie is.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
This was awesome. I can't